So on this channel, I've primarily talked about the garments that I make, and I've done some accessory stuff, but I also make shoes. So for this video, I thought that it would be fun for me to bring y'all along on a project that I have been honestly stalled on for a very, very long time. I had a pair of shoes that I made, and I was not happy with the way that one of them turned out, but I liked the other one. So in this video, I'm going to be fixing my mistake and repairing that one shoe so that they can be a nice matching pair and we can finish these and move on from them. So just so y'all know, for this video, I'm going to fly through the shoemaking steps pretty quickly. It's a very in-depth process to make shoes, but I'm also going to make a series after this that's going to kind of break down the shoemaking process. So this is me fixing a mistake that I made a long, long time ago. Okay, so I haven't been actively working on these shoes, but I started these shoes, I don't even want to tell you how long it's been since I started these, probably well over a year at this point, if not 2 years, which is just absolutely insane. They've just been sitting, but there's a pretty good reason why. So the shoemaking process is quite complex. There's obviously a lot of steps, and something can go wrong at every single step, which is, the challenging and mystifying part of shoemaking. But anyway, so lasting, which is the process of taking a mold and basically forming the upper that you made over that mold, that is the last step before you put the soles on. So that's what actually gives the shoe its shape, which you can see here. This is the last right here that's inside of the upper. This is everything that I made. And so because there's two shoes, you get two chances to last them. The reason why I was stalled is because when I was lasting them, one of them turned out great and the other one turned out not so great. And I can't move past it, and so I'm going to completely remake the left shoe for these shoes. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this is the right shoe, and if you look at it top down, you see how that is nice and round and looks like a shoe and is, just looks correct. So that's the right. And then this is the left. So I don't know, it's very subtle, but if you've never made shoes before, I'm sure you'll notice it right away. The whole shoe is kind of pulled to the side here. So it's all sort of pulled and off center. And I think what happened is that I pulled the lining too tight and it made the whole thing kind of off kilter. And then when I tried to last the outside, the whole thing is just twisted. So this is what we're going to be fixing. I'm going to make a whole new upper and we're going to relast it. So I have one already done and then we're just making another one to go with it. So I just have to hope that I go through the process and I'm able to last this new one better than last time. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But first and foremost, let's cut everything out. That will be the very first steps. First things first, I need to cut out all of my pieces, and I like to trace them on the back of the leather just to kind of minimize the marks that are left on the leather when you're putting the shoe together. Then also go back through and mark all the registration marks on the pattern. This is going to be kind of our guide when we go to put everything together. Once all the pieces are cut out and they're marked and everything has been skived and they have a backing on them, I can then go ahead and start putting everything together. And to do that, I use a really strong double stick tape. This is an awesome tool that I even use for garment making. It's really nice if you can't pin something. So definitely a product to look into if you are looking for something like this. Once the exterior of the upper is completed, it's then time to move on to the liner, and I'm using a spray adhesive to put the foam in. This particular foam, I believe it's called open cell foam. You have to use a specific kind of glue on it or it could ruin it. So I just use very basic, like Elmer's spray glue. Okay, so I figured this would be a good time to check in. I have the upper completely put together with the lining in, everything stitched together. So now we're gonna move on to actually like making this a viable shoe. So we have a couple of internal components that have to go in. The heel counter goes on the back. That is like a hard thermoplastic that makes the heel hard so it doesn't like fall down when you put your foot in and out of it. There's also a thing called toe puff that will go on during the lasting process. Same thing, it makes the toe a little bit more stiff so it doesn't get crushed in when you step on it. And then lasting. So there's some gluing that still needs to happen here. I am going to try, I need to take the shoe that we're fixing off of the last. So I'm going to take this one off. And I'm going to try to salvage the heel counter that's already in here because it's kind of a material that's tough to find. So if I can reuse it, I would really, really like to. But it's also contact cemented in, so I don't have very high hopes, but we're going to try. So I'm going to take this off of the last, and we'll see what I can do with it, and we'll just keep going with getting that one fixed. It's looking a lot better, so I just have to make sure that I don't mess up the lasting process again, but we're going to take our time. So next step, here we go. To remove the old shoe from the last, I'm just carefully removing the nails, trying not to bend them so I can reuse them later, and then the shoe will just slide right off the last. And no worries at all, I do plan to use this upper for something else later down the line, so it's not going to waste. I did end up having to cut out a new heel counter and then I glued that in. One tip for this step is you do want to be very careful that the contact cement you use to put in the heel counter does not touch the foam. That is the kind of glue that will close the cells of the foam and make it not fluffing anymore. Now that the upper is finished and all the internal components are glued in, we're ready to start lasting. And this will be a very quick explainer for lasting. It is a very complex and nuanced process, but I will be doing a more in-depth video on how to last later on. So just a basic rundown, most important thing is anchoring the shoe on the back. This is the most important thing. It will dictate whether or not you last the shoe correctly, so it's something you really want to get right and take your time with it. And you can redo this as many times as you need to. Take the nail out, put the nail back in as many times as you need to get it right. After that, you're just going to be applying pressure evenly around the whole shoe to take that excess leather and put it underneath, and you're using nails to put that into place. And for the first round of lasting, I will last the entire back of the shoe, and then I'm only going to last the lining of the toe. That way I can put my toe puff in, and then I will last the outside of the toe separately. To apply my toe puff, I'm using a heat gun to soften it, and then I'm just stretching it around the toe. This is a material that is a thermoplastic, so once it becomes hard, it will give the toe stability. Once the toe puff is in and I've removed all the excess material from the lining, I can then last the external part of the toe. Same process as the rest. You do want to apply light pressure, but even pressure all the way around. Again, it's quite nuanced, but you just want to take your time with it. Now that the shoes are lasted, we can then put on the soles. So I am starting by applying Renia, which is a special shoe sole glue. It's very, very strong. It's also very toxic, so if you do use this glue, I highly recommend wearing a respirator when you're using it. Certainly use it outside for sure. You do not want to use this indoors. I apply it to both the soles themselves and the bottoms of the shoes. Let that sit for 15 minutes, then we'll go into the oven at 200 for 2 minutes to reactivate the glue. And then I use my lasting post to put the shoe onto the lasting post and then just very carefully place the sole. This glue is very, very sticky, so you don't have a lot of opportunity to move it around if it's in the wrong spot. Once you're happy with it, you're gonna smack it with a hammer to glue it down properly, and then you are all set to then start stitching the soles. As my very final step, I am stitching the soles on using a sewing awl. You stick that into the pre-existing holes that are already in the sole, and then you loop the thread through, and this creates a modified saddle stitch, which is a very, very strong stitch, so those soles are not going anywhere. So those shoes are officially done, and it's crazy to think that I started those, I'm not even kidding you, probably close to 2 years ago at this point, but the most important thing is that I finished. It doesn't matter how long it took, the most important thing is that I finished, and they're perfect. I love them. They look great, and even though I had messed one of them up, now that they're finished, I think they're some of the best shoes I've ever made, so happy accidents there. Really, really happy with them. As I said in the intro, I'm going to be doing a series where I break down the different steps of how to make shoes, get a little bit more in depth, and if you're interested in shoemaking at all, I do highly suggest going to a class. I've done a few myself. Of course, if you have questions about the classes I've taken, specific questions about the shoemaking process, anything like that, I'd be happy to answer them. I hope y'all enjoyed this because I would like to make more shoe videos going forward. So let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.